The Rock broke down and cried in a recent video and has now spoken about it in a very emotional post. The Rock just completed his most recent run in WWE a couple of weeks back as the final boss, with the star having promised that he will return for Cody Rhodes and his title in the future. Fans are waiting to see when that will happen. For the time being, it does not seem likely, but by the time next year's WrestleMania rolls around, it's expected that the Brahma Bull will be back in the company again. Recently, The Rock was featured in a music video for the song Watcha See Is Watcha Get by country singer Chris Janson. In an interview together with Janson, The Rock got emotional talking about country music and his father, and how the two had bonded over it. Janson also got emotional seeing him vulnerable like that. The Brahma Bull ended up breaking down in tears and had to take a moment to compose himself. The last thing my brother at Jansen_Chris and I thought we would be doing in our interview together was cry like two little babies. My love for country music goes deep and represents so much more than the music itself. It represents human connections. It was how I bonded with my dad. I spent so much of my childhood living in the backseat of his car as we drove from town to town, state to state, 4 years following his career as a pro wrestler in the 80s. WWE fans have been waiting for The Rock's return to the shows. While The Rock's return to WWE earlier this year was an answer to fans' prayers, it's not something that they suddenly asked for. Since Dwayne Johnson took a step away from wrestling to focus on Hollywood, fans have been hoping for him to return to the company in the long run. Thanks to his commitments away from the ring, it didn't look likely, but earlier this year, he became a part of the TKO board. As a board member, he became more involved with WWE than he had been in years. His return to the ring came soon after. It remains to be seen if he has a long program with Cody Rhodes or Roman Reigns coming up in the near future. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, known for his tough exterior and unyielding resolve, shocked the world when he broke down in tears during a press conference. The room fell silent as cameras flashed, capturing a moment of vulnerability from a man typically associated with strength and resilience. As tears streamed down his face, The Rock took a deep breath, struggling to compose himself. The weight of his emotions seemed to hang heavy in the air, as if the entire room held its breath in anticipation of what he would say next. I didn't expect this," he began, his voice cracking with emotion. "I never thought I'd be standing here, in front of all of you, breaking down like this." The audience leaned in, captivated by the raw honesty emanating from the usually stoic figure before them. "I've always prided myself on being tough, on never showing weakness," The Rock continued. "But the truth is, even the strongest among us have moments of vulnerability. And today, I want to share mine with you." He recounted his journey from humble beginnings to international fame, from wrestling rings to Hollywood sets. He spoke of the sacrifices he made along the way, the challenges he faced, and the moments of doubt that threatened to derail his dreams. "But through it all," he said, his voice steady now, "I've always pushed forward. I've always found the strength to keep going, no matter how tough things got." The Rock paused, wiping away tears with the back of his hand. "But there's something I've been hiding, something I've never told anyone," he confessed. The room was silent as The Rock gathered his thoughts, his words hanging in the air like a heavy fog. "I'm scared," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. "I'm scared of failing, of letting everyone down. I'm scared of not living up to the expectations people have for me." The weight of his confession seemed to hang heavy in the air, as if the walls themselves were straining to contain the emotion pouring forth from the vulnerable man before them. "But I've come to realize that it's okay to be scared," The Rock said, his voice gaining strength with each word. "It's okay to feel uncertain, to doubt yourself. What's important is how you deal with those feelings, how you push through them and keep moving forward." He looked out at the audience, his gaze steady and determined. "I may be known as The Rock, but I'm also just a man," he said. "A man with hopes and fears, dreams and doubts. And today, I choose to embrace all of it. I choose to embrace my vulnerability, because it's what makes me human." With those words, The Rock's tears dried, replaced by a steely resolve. He stood tall, a beacon of strength and courage, inspiring all those who witnessed his emotional confession. As the press conference came to a close, The Rock stepped down from the stage, surrounded by a newfound sense of purpose. And though the world may never forget him as The Rock, they would also remember him as Dwayne Johnson, a man unafraid to show his true self, even in the face of overwhelming adversity.